So after the Syria strikes, uh, first of all, Defense Secretary Mattis, one day, one day before we dropped 100 Tomahawk missiles on Syria, said we don't have, we don't have firm evidence that Bashar al-Assad was behind these attacks. So one day before we dropped these missiles, we didn't have evidence. The inspectors still hadn't gone in yet. Of course, after the Syria strikes, nothing happens in this country without Russian trolls, right? So according to the Pentagon claims 2,000% increase in Russian trolls after Syria strikes. What does that mean? I mean, before I even read the absurd USA Today story, I have to mention, what does that even mean, a 2,000% increase? How are they even measuring this? This is becoming like, this is the Twilight Zone, right? They've been saying that Russian trolls are the reason that Bernie Sanders' campaign got so much bigger. It was really the Russian trolls who elevated the Russian Bernie Sanders. It was the Russian trolls that have infiltrated Black Lives Matter and made that movement bigger. It's the Russian trolls that have infiltrated Standing Rock and made that bigger. Well, considering I was on the campaign trail and probably covered about 25 to 30 Bernie Sanders rallies, I didn't see anyone holding Russian flags. I didn't see anyone with vodka, maybe in their pocket, but not out. I didn't see any comrades from Russia. I didn't. I saw in Washington Square Park, I saw 30 to 40,000 people inside the park and the surrounding for a historic, record-breaking rally Bernie Sanders had in New York City. He had 30,000 in Seattle, I think it was. When I was at Standing Rock, I don't know, in between the tear gas and the rubber bullets being shot all around, I didn't see any Russians. I didn't. I've covered Black Lives Matter marches, didn't see Russians. Saw black people, white people, old people, young people marching for black people and their rights. Edwards says, stop McCarthyism, peace, not war. I agree. So let's read about how the Pentagon measures the 2,000% increase in Russian trolls. The Pentagon claimed a 2,000% increase in Russian troll activity on social media following the U.S.-led missile strike against Syria Friday night. Spokesperson Dana White said in Saturday's Pentagon briefing that the activity escalated during the 24 hours following the strike. Quote, the Russian disinformation campaign has already begun. Oh, boy. White did not detail how the Defense Department calculated that figure, but said the Pentagon would supply, quote, the facts moving forward. I'm sorry to laugh, because this is not, it's not a laughing matter. We dropped 100 Tomahawks on Syria. This is an act of aggression. It could lead to retaliation, so it's not a laughing matter. But literally, USA Today is just printing. The Defense Department did not actually detail that calculation, but said the Pentagon would supply the facts moving forward. What? You know, I remember, I'm 31, I was born in 1986, and in 2002 and 2003, I kept on hearing and I kept on reading reports that, you know, we're still looking for those weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. So, you know, we're still looking. But, you know, we're still going to just go to full-scale war because they'll greet us as liberators. And you had CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and New York Times and Washington Post and Associated Press just breathlessly, just regurgitating whatever the Pentagon, the CIA, the FBI tells them. At least in this USA Today piece, they're not even hiding it. Have you ever seen anything like this in media? White, the spokesperson, did not detail how the Defense Department calculated that figure, but said the Pentagon would, quote, supply the facts moving forward. Well, USA Today, while you just simply regurgitate what nonsense the Pentagon tells you, you know what happens? This headline, the Pentagon claims 2,000% increase in Russian trolls. It goes then to the Huffington Post. It goes then to the Daily Beast. It goes then to Mother Jones. It goes then to the Atlantic. It goes then to Politico. It goes then to Axios, and on and on and on and on and on. And before you know it, this is fact. It's another talking point for the Democratic establishment to use to deflect on the fact that we have legalized bribery in this country. And the real reason Trump won wasn't because of Russian trolls. It's because Hillary Clinton herself. She lost. Too bad. Is there evidence that, like, there were Russian trolls and propaganda and fake Facebook groups on social media? Yeah. You know what else? You know what other fake accounts there were on social media? You know what other paid trolls there were on social media? You ever hear of a guy named David Brock? He ran a super PAC for Hillary Clinton called Correct the Record and literally had an army of paid trolls to put out correct the record for disinformation. You know, this army of trolls, they don't only work on correcting political information, they even worked on me personally. You want the behind the scenes? Here we go. Obviously, there was a false allegation made about me at the end of last year. It is false, to make sure you're aware of that. All of a sudden, I started seeing the same exact tweet from like 200 to 300 accounts. Adding me to the list with like Harvey Weinstein and Mark Halperin and all these vile men who actually were guilty of very, very, very violent and criminal acts. And all of a sudden, I started seeing them from the same accounts that you see boosting David Brock, that you see boosting Neera Tanden, that you see boosting Peter Dow. Isn't that interesting? So Correct the Record, they do great work. So they are paid trolls, meaning bots on the internet that send out disinformation about Bernie Sanders. They've attacked Nina Turner, Susan Sarandon, but it's the Russian trolls that are the problem because we're living in a Cold War reenactment. Honestly, I don't really get headaches. I get a migraine from all this nonsense. Between Hillary Clinton's lack of self-awareness and intellectual dishonesty to the Democratic establishment attacking Susan Sarandon for Syria bombs to now the Pentagon literally saying there's a 2,000% increase in Russian trolls after Syria strikes. And what's the evidence we have? How do we measure that? We're not going to give you the details, but, we'll supply the facts moving forward. Can you imagine if I, Jordan Charitan, or Jimmy Dore, or Democracy Now!, or The Intercept, or any independent progressive media reported that, there's a 5,000% increase in bot attacks against Bernie Sanders after he won a primary, or after something good for the progressive movement. Can you imagine if we reported that and we didn't explain how we came to that number? We didn't tell you what's behind the measurement. We don't tell you where we're studying, where we're looking. They'd be calling for our heads. But the Pentagon, well, they said it, so let's print it. The same Pentagon, by the way, who's about to give I think it's a $10 billion contract with, take a guess. Take a guess. What organization, what company in America is going to get a $10 billion contract with the Pentagon? Amazon, who owns the Washington Post. The same company, by the way, that has a $600 million contract with the CIA. So the Washington Post, you better believe they're going to print whatever the hell the Pentagon, the CIA tells them. It's not Raytheon, but Raytheon and Boeing stock price is up right now. I wonder why. We don't have a media in this country. We have public relations professionals masquerading as journalists and doing stenography for oligarchs, plutocrats, fake and corporations. And you know who pays for that? The residents of Flint, Michigan, the residents of East Chicago, Indiana, the people of St. Louis who are being murdered at record rates. Not the people, the black men specifically. Because what's actually happening doesn't get out. That's the truth. Literally, you had the media just reporting that Assad gassed his people with zero evidence. The inspectors didn't even go in. Lee Camp and Max Blumenthal did a great video over the weekend. I believe it's on Lee Camp's channel, Redacted Tonight. I mean, I don't know any objective person who's not corrupt who would say it's clear at all that Assad gassed his people. But NBC News regurgitates it, and we're off. So there you have it, folks. According to the Pentagon, 2,000% increase in Russian trolls. What the evidence is, we'll fucking tell you later. Leave us alone.